print will never die, and neither will any of the other media. And I'm saying, so whenever you have something in a person's hands, it still works. I mean, a lot of people are doing it incredibly effectively. A lot of people never quit doing it. Physical location and great signage are media. They are media. And they have other purposes besides just advertising for you. They give you a place to work and show your products. And I'm saying, I'm a big believer in expensive locations. Hey, the message always matters more than the media that delivers it.
Right. Period.
The end. And most people are always looking for the magic vehicle. And I'm going, no. I'm not that worried about what media you're using. Tell me what you're saying, and I'll tell you how successful you're going to be.
Advertising is a tax you pay for not being remarkable. Welcome to Todd, Liles, and the Wizard of Ads, a podcast for business owners who want to become remarkable. Tug of love, Todd Liles is going to take you deep into the mind of Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads, to unleash the timeless truths and secret strategies that have helped him build dozens of America's most successful businesses. Do you want to build a brand that wins the heart, captures the mind, and creates lasting relationships? Take a deep breath and buckle up. It's time to fly.
Welcome to the Wizard of Ads. Today's episode is Print Dead? The purpose of the episode is to rediscover the unique advantages of print media in a digital-first world, emphasizing its ability to create lasting impressions, target niche audiences, and breaking through the digital clutter. Roy, today we're going to dive into a topic that feels almost nostalgic, but really it should be rather fresh, and it's print media. More specifically, we're going to ask, what critical role does it play today, and can it still be powerful if the right message is applied? And the big question that we're going to ask is it dead? So the first section that we're going to dive in here today is the power of physical presence. And in an era of constant digital noise, print has the power to stop a customer dead in their tracks and create a lasting impression and build trust if it's done well. So, Roy, I want to kick off with the big question. Is print dead?
No, print will never die, neither will any of the other media. Print is ancient compared to digital. Print has literally been around since Gutenberg. And so when you say, is print dead, and is it an essential thing? Is it ever a critical, vital thing? No. There's nothing that you can't ignore. As a matter of fact, Todd, more people are doing too many things a little bit instead of one thing with their whole heart. And if you've got more money than what it takes to do one thing with your whole heart, then do two things. But three is always a mistake. Print can be the thing you do. Oh. It can be. Now, doing print right is very similar to doing online right. I think it was Marshall McLuhan that said, the medium is the message.
Yep.
I have never understood that. I've had people explain it to me for 50 years, and I still am not sure what he was trying to say. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The medium is the medium. The message is the message. And my position is, when you're using print, what's the big advantage? The big one. People can reread it. They can look at it, think about it, read a little closer, and then start over and read it and process it and digest it. Now, whenever you're moving something past them or they're not holding it in their hand. Now, when I'm talking about print, I'm talking about mailbox print.
Right.
I'm talking about something that is physically at your house, and you have to decide, am I going to throw this away or am I going to look at it? Because once they're engaged and once they're looking at it, they're giving you their time not because you purchased it from them, the way that you do with television or radio or even with social media. It's because you gave them something that they want to probe into a little bit.
Right.
And so here's what's crazy. In all the broadcast media, in anything using sight and sound or even just sound, the listener has to follow you at your pace.
Right.
Right now, our viewers are following us at our pace. But when you're reading something, you get to stop, contemplate it, reread it, go back and double check something you read earlier just to make sure you understood it correctly, and then process it. And I'm saying, so whenever you have something in a person's hands, it still works.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of people are doing it incredibly effectively. A lot of people never quit doing it. Now, if it wasn't working, there would be nothing in your mailbox this afternoon.
Right.
And so, yeah, print is awesome. It's expensive. And I used to say that. I used to say, man, print's really expensive. But now that digital has gotten as expensive as it is, now print's actually pretty cheap
Mm-hmm.
compared to the cost of clicks these days. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I did my best.
No, you did. It's absolutely, you answered my question. It's not dead. This wasn't in my questions, but it's something that I've thought about, and you've sort of risen it to the surface. One of the things that I love about print, whether it's in advertisement form or whether it's just a great book you pick up and read, is that because it is unfolding and happening in the mind, it can have some of the biggest impact and greatest effects if it's written well.
Mhm.
You are unlimited in the world that you can create, which is also one of the reasons, on a side note, that I love radio so much,
Mhm.
is because you can do very similar things with radio at a much lower cost to produce than you can with television. You can do those things with
Oh, yeah.
television. It's just expensive to do. So, in one of your Monday morning memos that you wrote back on June 9th, 2008, it was called A Comparison of the Nine Major Media. There was a statement, I'm paraphrasing it slightly, but you said that signage in particular, when it came to print, was some of the cheapest advertising money can buy when it's also some of the most expensive to install.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty clear statement. But just to make sure that I understand, to me, what it sounds like is putting up a billboard is going to be expensive to install, but if it's a great billboard, it's cheap money on the dollar. Did I understand that right, or should I have
Yeah,
taken
no.
that another way?
No, you did. But I think of signage differently than billboards.
Okay. Yes,
And
thank
so,
you. Unpack that.
yeah. So a sign is something on your building.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that expensive cost of occupancy is the cheapest advertising money can buy. Because the more you pay for a physical location, it's because of the incredible traffic that goes by there.
Yes.
And if you have a building that is positioned, now let's look at all the shopping centers you see in the world. There's that row of buildings out in front,
Mhm.
standalone buildings, and then back behind, there's a big parking lot between them. Then back behind are all these buildings in a long line. Here's what's interesting. The people back in the back, you know how they give people directions to their store? By naming the building they're behind.
Exactly.
And so everybody knows where those buildings are. They see those buildings every time they drive past, even if they're not looking for them. Even if they're not looking for them. That's what I call intrusive visibility. When everybody in a region knows exactly where that is, whenever you name, oh, you know where such and such is. Oh, yeah. They can see it. Why do they see it? Not because they've ever been in it, but because they drive past it every day. Now, when you have that kind of a location and you have a very arresting sign, okay, you'll become a household word and literally a landmark. I'm saying, now here's what's crazy. You pay for that sign one time.
Right.
I don't care how much you paid for it. The number of people that are going to see it and the number of people that you're going to become very, very familiar with, they're going to become familiar with you. They're going to know your name. They're going to know where you're located. They're going to have certain impressions and feelings about you. And when it comes to real estate, Todd, whoever is sitting on the throne is obviously the king.
Right.
And when you have one of those high visibility, in your face, big spectacular locations with this big monster sign and it's really cool, people go, they're important. They're obviously important. And I'm saying, nope, they just got a great sign. Now, that's whenever I say signs are amazing. Billboards can be amazing,
Gotcha.
but you got to pay for them every month. And
So-
I'm going, so that gets old.
You reminded me of something that I have completely forgotten about.
Mhm.
But Shannon and I were actually in the sign business for a small period of time.
Ha!
It was our first co-owned adventure, and I've never written about it, and I haven't talked about it in years, and I've totally forgot about it, but I'm going to tell you about it.
All right.
So we're at Louisiana Tech. Shannon's getting a degree in interior architecture, and I'm getting my degree in speech communication, and I had a performing arts scholarship.
Mhm.
So I would hang around Shannon, she would hang around me, and all that time we were managing a pet store called A Touch of Nature. We had these shirts, big graphic design shirts, and somewhere along the line, I don't know if I was visiting Shannon or if she was visiting me, but we would paint these sets, and sometimes we would take projection screens, we'd project them against these large canvases, we would trace them, and then we would paint them. Well, that, along with what Shannon was doing, we got an idea, and we went to Rebecca, the owner of the store, and said, "Hey, Rebecca, what if after hours you paid us?" And she had this great large brick wall that was just her brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
This building was probably 20 feet tall, and that brick wall probably stretched for 50 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what if you give us the first front of it? So, you know, a 20 by 40-ish sign. Let us take the shirt and paint it on the wall
Mm-hmm.
and all these bright colors. And, you know, we'll charge you by the hour what you pay us now. Just we'll do it as extra. She said,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up doing hers, and then we ended up doing about half of Ruston. If they had a brick wall, they walked over to Rebecca, who did that, and Shannon and I went around painting signage. And we did all this stuff by hand. We measured it out. There was no ability to cast a projection screen. We had to, you know, trace it, stencil it. And I had totally forgotten about that. But at one point in time, we had about half the buildings downtown in Ruston that we had hand painted.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one just came down like 2 years ago. They had left them up for that long until the buildings,
Wow.
until they were sold. So they've lived for 20 plus years.
Wow.
And I've never considered it until right now.
Now, those are
So,
landmarks.
yeah.
Now, to add a little point to what you just said, the big, what's called they used to call a rotary paint. Rotary meant that it moved from place to place, and paint means that it wasn't a 30-sheet poster, which goes up like wallpaper, but it's literally a painted bulletin. And so they're like 14 by 42, okay? Now, those are painted photorealism because for years they've had these gigantics on these big tracks and they're motorized electric motors. Think of an inkjet printer,
Mm-hmm.
except it's spraying paint.
Yeah.
And so it's computerized and it can do absolute perfect photo images,
Very cool.
14 by 32. Well, now they've got those. They sell them for $30,000. And you can put them outdoors and level them up and paint up literally perfect fidelity, any detailed multicolor image you want at the press of a button.
Oh.
You move it inside a house, you can paint a feature wall, any mural you want on it, perfect.
I tell you what, for $30,000, that could be a very inexpensive startup for just about any.
That's what I'm saying. It's an amazing business.
Yeah, for sure.
They just released them. Anyway, keep going.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you for that, Roy. So I love the distinction that you give, and thank you for that clarity between signage versus a billboard,
Mm-hmm.
and whether it's a sign on the side of a building, whether it's beautiful yard signs that you
Mm-hmm.
put in the yard, they
Mhm.
stay there for a period of time and you move them on. Now I get it. How can we leverage something once,
Right.
but be able to use it for extended long periods of time
Right.
without paying monthly fees
Yeah,
for it?
exactly.
Smart. I love it.
Truck wraps are like
Truck
that.
wraps.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Roy, why is being intrusively visible so powerful in this world of digital distractions that we're in?
Okay, whenever I say intrusively visible, if there is no emotion attached to your message, then it's kind of pointless. But if your sign, if your store, if your presence, if the name of your company, if some element of what you do is sticky and it sticks in people's head, and they attach a personality that they assume about you, your
Mhm.
company, your product, your service, your brand, and then they also attach a place. Now, here's what's interesting. When people are out moving around, when they're driving through town, okay, they know where they are if they live in that town by what they're looking at.
Mhm.
And you know what? Everybody looks at all the same things. It's not like you choose certain things to look at a certain part of town and other people are identifying other landmarks. Nope. We all pick the same ones. And so those things that in our peripheral vision are notable because of size, shape, color, texture, signage, lighting, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, okay? Anything that is new, surprising, or different becomes a reference point. And when your business becomes a reference point, or when your sign becomes a reference point, okay, then you occupy real estate in the mind of the general public. And I'm saying, yeah, physical location and great signage are media.
Mhm.
They are media. And you only pay for them, and I'm going, and they have other purposes besides just advertising for you. They give you a place to work and show
Yeah.
your products. And I'm saying I'm a big believer in expensive locations.
No, I love what you're saying. It makes me think of Jimmy Hiller, who in the early days I did a ton of work for. And when you would go to his location, it was a very large location, but it was old. It was like an old railroad repair shop center.
Mhm.
Like they'd bring rail cars in there, and they still had the big cranes overhead. So, in a lot of ways, it was not very convenient for a heating and air conditioning company. But what it had going for it was right there on I-65 in a part of Nashville where the traffic comes to a standstill
Yeah.
at least twice a day for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And he's right up against it, and he had massive Hiller signs out that he didn't have to pay rent on because they were on his property.
Wow.
And it was an ideal prime location if you looked at it from that standpoint.
Mhm.
He actually bent this not great location to his will because he was going for location first related to traffic.
Yep.
All
Good
right.
move.
Yeah, very smart move. Let's now talk about the problem with forgettable print. Here's a little insight for the listener. Print that is ignored is a waste of money. And the medium alone doesn't guarantee success. The message has to be just as powerful. Roy, what do you mean when you say the medium is not the message?
Okay, the medium delivers the message. And as I said earlier, I'm always confused about how people say the medium is the message. And I'm going, I don't know. The most people have ever been able to explain to me is that, well, if everybody's watching TikTok, then like TikTok's the message. And I'm going, nope. The thing on TikTok is the message.
Mhm.
TikTok is just a way of communicating little bits of information rapidly and continuing to punch the little dopamine button in our brain. My position is, hey, the message always matters more than the media that delivers it.
Right.
Period. The end. And most people are always looking for the magic vehicle. And I'm going, no. I'm not that worried about what media you're using. Tell me what you're saying, and I'll
Yes.
tell you how successful you're going to be. And so this is where nobody likes to do that because now it takes work, it takes judgment, it takes experience, and it's not just a formula.
Mm-hmm.
Todd, I'm sorry. Everybody wants a formula. Give me something actionable. Tell me what to do. Steps 1 through 5. And I'm going, I'm sorry. There is science in advertising, but it's not a science. It's an art that employs a handful of scientific principles. And I'm going, so this idea of, well, make it simple for me. And I'm going, you know what? I can say it to you, but I can't understand it for you. And I don't mean to be a snob, but I'm telling you,
Right.
the message is the message. The media that delivers the message, they're different prices and they have different advantages and different weaknesses.
Right.
There's no bad media and there's no best media. There's just choose a media for the love of God. But for above all, have a message that has the power to move the needle on the who gives a crap meter.
I got to ask you a question about it.
All right.
It's a very well-known billboard message.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah, I already know what you're going to say.
your wife is hot, call such and such air conditioning company.
That's not what I was thinking about.
Which one were you thinking of?
Does outdoor advertising work?
Oh,
It
yeah,
did.
it just did. It irritates me. Your work to irritate me.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about your wife is hot, and periodically you'll see someone else has put this billboard up, and I can tell you that I don't remember a single company below the line.
Right.
What I do know, to the point that where hey, I'm celebrating 24 years today with my wife, right? But every man's going to recognize an attractive lady. They've gone from attractive lady to they shouldn't put that lady on a billboard. They're just trying to grab more extremes with the women they put on the
Right.
billboard. And in my mind, I go, haha, yeah, that's clever, but I wouldn't waste my money on it. But maybe I'm wrong. What do you think about that? Is your wife hot? Call such and such air conditioning company.
Okay. All of society, every person in society is a member of multiple little tribes. Okay, if you have a Jeep, you're part of the Jeep tribe probably, and if you like to golf, you're part of the golf tribe,
Mhm.
and et cetera. And there are tribes of people that just like lowbrow humor,
Okay.
and you know some, I know some, and they just like lowbrow humor. And it's like, okay. And so if anybody thinks that's funny, they go, oh, I think that's great. I'm going to use them. And I'm going, okay, it probably works. Now, does it work with a lot of people? No, but it'll always get enough feedback that it makes everybody feel like, oh, it's the greatest thing we've ever done. Well, it's the first thing you've ever done that people actually noticed.
I guess.
That doesn't mean it's a wonderful thing to do. It just means, yeah, it got you some feedback from some people. So would I do it? No. But it's because I know how to do a whole lot of other things that work a lot better than that.
Let's go to that then. We know that these things are like anything else. There needs to be a strategy connected to it. And I think I know your answer, because if the listener's been listening now, they will know by this point that your answers are deep, well thought out answers that are tied to the client you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's always dictated by strategy.
Right.
So let's just jump ahead and say that the listener understands these principles, and we're not going to unpack them.
Right.
Just assume that they're actually the client.
All right.
So with that being in mind, what would be one thing when it comes to print that when the time is right, of leaning on what you've said, hey, probably 2 mediums, probably not more, maybe 3, but probably 2.
Right.
What would be something that you'd go, hey, this will help you be remembered in a positive way?
Right.
And maybe you actually have to lean into something you've done to answer that question.
Well, okay. Let's begin with the simplest basic equation.
Okay.
Now, this goes way back to David Ogilvy, who was the king of print when
Yes.
print was king. As a matter of fact, one of the only advertising books anybody needs to read, and it sounds like it would be too old to be relevant, but in about 1980 or something like that, David Ogilvy produced Ogilvy on Advertising, okay? And this is back when magazines were still just unbelievably powerful for brand building. And he talks deep and long about long copy versus short copy, and he talks about the importance of the image or the illustration. Now, here's the thing. Ogilvy, and I agree, by the way, wholeheartedly, an image exists, whether it's online
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's a billboard or whether it's a magazine ad or whether it's a postcard in your mailbox or whether it's a catalog or a brochure. An image exists to get you to read the headline,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the subject line. The subject line exists to add meaning and a second layer of depth, of symbolism
Mm-hmm.
to the message. Now, as a matter of fact, let's go back to the dumb deal, your wife is hot.
Yeah.
Well, what we mean is the temperature is really high in your house and
Right.
she's sweating. Ha, ha, ha. But whenever you say she's hot, you think of this incredibly attractive woman. Okay, double entendre. Now, here's the point. That's dumbass double entendre, but there's also elegant double entendre that's not sexual. And so when you see the image and then you see a message tied to that image, and it gives it a whole second meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes you down a rabbit hole. Well, it causes a question. I call it the hovering question mark. They want to read the opening line of body copy. Now, that's the only reason that the subject line exists. The illustration or the photograph, the image, gets you to read the headline. The headline gets you to read the first line of body copy. Now, the first line of body copy has a purpose. Can you guess what it is?
To get you to read the next line.
Bingo. And if you leave out the parts that people skip, they'll read all the way through.
Right.
And did you know that right now what Google, well, actually YouTube, will reward you for more than any other thing?
Watch time.
Watching it all the way through.
Yeah.
When a high percentage of people watch all the way into the video, man, YouTube gives you some love.
Mm-hmm.
And so the point is, leaving out the parts that people skip, keeping the story moving forward. That's what makes a powerful print ad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes a powerful print ad. It takes a really good writer. It takes a really interesting headline that is a twist or a reveal of a deeper meaning of the image. They're always going to see the image first and then quickly look at the headline. And if there's a little bit of a, oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then they look down.
That's good. Thank you.
So those are, they're symbolic to each other.
Right.
Symbolism is always part of what does this mean? What does this stand for? What does this represent? And so, now, I'm not going to go any further with that because we could take too long. But the point is, that's the way print works. And actually, that's the way TV works. And to a degree, that's the way radio works. And that's always what you're trying to do. Get the attention and then hold the attention.
Next segment that I want to talk about is when print beats digital. Despite all the digital hype, print can still outperform digital in certain contexts, if not many contexts, especially when the goal is building long term brand loyalty. Roy, observationally here, I have noticed that really high end brands still rely very heavily on print, even in this digital age. And I want to see, why do you think these people that have money and knowledge still choose to invest so heavily in print?
Okay, there's a lot of subconscious elements to it. Believe it or not, when you're talking about print, the thickness of the cardstock,
Mm-hmm.
the quality of the paper itself, the gloss, the sheen, and the images, the colors, and just the durability. Think of packaging. When you get something in a really elegant
Right.
box,
Boy, they do it right.
exactly. When you get something in a really amazing, elegant box, you just value what's inside that box before you even open it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, print sends that same signal. When you get something that's really incredibly well done, and you're going, man, these guys are serious. These guys are not playing. These guys are all in on the feel of their brand. Now, here's what's the big advantage. The question you asked, Todd, was, what advantages does digital have, or does print have over digital?
Yes.
Well, here's the big one, okay? Targeting.
There you go.
Targeting. And whenever you say, okay, let's say, I'm going to talk about some of the obscure home services today, okay? Tree trimming.
Mm-hmm.
You know what tree trimmers look for? Houses with trees.
I know. Yeah.
Big trees.
Makes sense.
Now, big trees tend to be in certain neighborhoods and not in other neighborhoods. And you know what's funny about houses with big trees? They cost a lot more money than houses without trees. And so, especially big trees. And so, big trees usually come with big lots and expensive houses. And people care about their trees, and they can afford to care about their trees. So, do you want to target these people with Google? Or do you want to go to where they are? There's two ways to do that, Todd, and both of them work. The first one, ding,
Mm-hmm.
is to put something amazing in their mailbox. And if it only goes to the people who have big houses and big trees, it doesn't matter how much you spend on delivering that sucker, does it? You know what the second one is?
Yes.
Door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's done right, oh, it still works. I have a client that has built his home services business, Todd, to $30 million, and he's never advertised. Door knocking.
Yeah, door knocking's very powerful. Shannon and I were going back to the tree things, right? We have a yard with a ton of trees. And every year our trim budget is usually around $3,000 to $4,000.
Mhm.
And historically speaking, we use the same person over and over and over and over again. Something different happened this year. And it happened in a way that made me go, huh, this is fascinating. A new company knocked on the door. And this time when we opened the door, he introduced himself. He immediately pointed to his trucks. And out front, he had two utility trucks. They were all white except for the emergency type signage that you would recognize for a contractor that would work for the power lines, the municipalities. And they were municipality mulchers right there in the spot. And I noticed these massive trucks going, oh, this is interesting. I don't recall exactly the name of the business outside of the card that he gave me being on the truck. Maybe it was, but it had license numbers. But he pointed to those trucks and he introduced himself and said, we do the work for Buda. And he named several municipalities. He said, you can check that with these city managers. And today we wrapped up early. And as you can see, we have our utility trucks out there. We can trim and we can mulch. If you want mulch, we can put it down. If not, we can haul the mulch off. And I was so impressed with the fact that they had $200,000
Yeah, they're
worth
not
of
playing.
equipment out
Yeah,
front.
they're not playing.
Yeah, I said, when can you do it? He says, we can start now. We can finish tomorrow. And he described the work he was going to do. And I said, what's your price? And he gave me his price. And I thought, I'll see. I said, well, I'll tell you what, my other guy does it for this. So he matched it. I'm like, all right, fine, done. Do it. Whether or not he could have done it for even less, after he matched, I was like, yeah, go ahead and do it. But in a way, going to your point, he knocked on the door.
Yeah.
And man, I'll, you better have a really substantial physical piece to give me that same impression as seeing two of these utility trucks out front ready to go.
Here's the thing, and this is what I try to remind people of. Nobody wants to hear it, Todd. No one wants to hear it. Time and money are always interchangeable.
Always.
You can spend one to save more of the other.
Right.
You can spend time to save money, or you can spend money to save time. Now, which do you have the more of?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that guy, he's got the $200,000 trucks and the bucket lifts and all this crazy stuff. And you're going, okay, this guy's geared up. This guy's for real. And so that's super impressive. And he said, and we chose you. We're at your house talking to you because we would like to work for you. And he pointed to his trucks, and you're going, instant credibility. And he made a big impact. So print can make a big impact. As a matter of fact, one of our partners, Stephen Simple, okay?
Man, he's talented. Oof,
Yeah,
smart man.
Listen, he spent $25 per delivery per address. Now, anybody that wants to read about this, if they want to read about high impact, it's Marketing Outrageously by John Spolstra. John's a friend. I love his book. He even mentions me in it toward the back. But John is Jon, as in Jonathan. John Spolstra. Now, his son is Eric Spolstra, who last time I checked was general manager or coach of the Miami Heat, I think.
Oh, cool.
And so I remember he was there whenever Shaq was still playing for the Miami Heat.
Very cool.
But anyway, John wrote Marketing Outrageously, and he talks about lumpy mail. And he put a rubber chicken in the tube. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's a long story, but it's an amazing book.
That's awesome. Thank you. In today's ad segment, we're going to unpack one of the most famous print media campaigns ever, and it's De Beers, A Diamond is Forever. This campaign didn't just sell diamonds. It created a cultural expectation around them, changing the way the entire world thinks about engagement rings. Okay, Roy, so today, in honor of it being my 24th wedding anniversary.
And congratulations
Thank
on
you
behalf
so
of
much.
all the viewers.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Well, I married a beautiful woman who makes me better in so many ways. And also because we're talking about print, I wanted to bring the original A Diamond is Forever ad. And by the way, for those of you that want to see it, you can see it over at toddliles.com/wizard. Go check it out. But I know that you've seen this ad forever. And what's interesting is I said this weeks ago in front of my two young ladies, my wife and my daughter, right? And my son too, but he just sort of looked at me. I said, hey, everybody, a diamond is, and I paused, and my wife immediately went, forever. You know what my daughter immediately said? They said it at the same time. They're overlapping with each other. She said a girl's best friend.
Right, and they're both true.
Yeah.
One is a song.
Right.
Yeah. Here's what makes that interesting. It illustrates something I was trying to say earlier, but I said it very badly. So the image says one thing, and then the statement gives an entirely different meaning. Okay. Now, forgive me for being rambling and pedantic.
Oh, please.
For those that don't know the difference between a simile and a metaphor, a simile, a diamond is like a song. A metaphor, a diamond is a song.
Mm-hmm.
And so a metaphor is to say this is this, okay? And so to connect two things as being interchangeable and united, all right? And so a diamond, strangely, is not forever. They're easily destroyed. You can hit a diamond with a hammer and make it into dust that fast, and you can burn them up. If your house burns down, diamond's gone, man. It burned up.
Oh, I didn't know.
Diamonds are fragile as hell. And so diamonds are not forever. True love is forever. And when they say, you don't know that about diamonds, nobody knew that about diamonds until I just told you. Oh, but they say, oh, well, diamonds, they know it's the hardest substance in the world. And strangely, it does dissipate heat faster than any other substance on the face of the earth.
Therefore, that's why you're iced out.
But if you put a torch on a diamond too long, it burns up.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It's just carbon.
Jewelers have to be super careful when they're trying to retip the prongs on an engagement ring because the gold prongs wear down, the ring can fall out, and they have to put a little gold on it. They have to be really quick with that torch lest they burn up that diamond. And now, here's my point. Because you don't know that a diamond isn't forever, De Beers was to say a diamond is forever. And so what they're trying to say is just like your love for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're saying, oh, a diamond and my love, they're interchangeable. And so they said a diamond is forever, nobody cares. You're not focused on the diamond. You're focused on the relationship.
Right.
And if your relationship is forever, you should represent it by something that is also forever. But they're not. And so my point is, it's good advertising. It's bad science.
I love it, though, because it's very, I don't remember the exact thing that you say, but it's something along the lines of, how do you say it? Don't let a lie get in the way of a beautiful story.
Yeah. It's like, I don't say it a lot, but I hear it said a lot, and I've always laughed at it. It says, never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
That's what it is.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, a diamond is fragile and will burn up under the heat.
Yeah, it's like, and
that'll sell, won't it?
And you bang it with a hammer, you've instantly got a pile of salt. It just looks like salt, just little white dust. It's like, they're very fragile.
So I think you've perfectly answered the question why this campaign actually worked for De Beers.
Right.
It's very much also...
It was never talking about the diamond.
Yes.
It was talking about your love for her. That's what it was talking about. The diamond was simply a metaphor.
I love it. And probably some of the best people to do this so well by example is the original show. And I don't know why I just drew a blank. We'll have to edit this in. What's the show with Don Draper?
Mad Men.
Mad Men. Yeah, Mad Men. He was always tying it to something else, right?
Right.
So exceedingly well. You may go, oh, I get it. It's not about the diamond. It's about the love. It's not about the lipstick. It's about the attraction. Very cool. Well, Roy, thank you so much. This has been a great episode. In your thought here, what's the one takeaway the listener should take from today's episode?
Choose your message before you choose your media.
Thank you so much. Well, print, folks, is not dead. It certainly is not. It's just waiting for the business with the creativity and the courage to use it wisely.
You've been listening to Tug of Love, Todd Liles, and the Wizard of Ads, where the bold win and the remarkable reign. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a conversation. If you want a copy of the show notes or watch the ads from today's show, head over to toddliles.com/wizard. This episode is dedicated to the business owners who refuse to be ordinary.